Hey everyone, welcome back! Yup, you read that title right. We, made an actual Inaros Sandstorm DPS ability build. This is in theory an infinitely scaling a Sandstorm build. Why? Well, the DPS is quadratically scaling. The question is, just where will you source these scaling from? You might also be wondering why I didn't use Darude Sandstorm since this would be literally perfect for it. Unfortunately, copyrights. Aw shucks. Anyways, let's see what's going on, shall we? Inaros was that frame when he came out. The first frame without shields, and unheard of thousands of health. He was the unkillable frame, not even sortie units could put a real dent in him, and he was the obvious pick for escort missions. Steel Path had yet to exist, and yet, over the many years we've known Inaros, his kit has barely changed. The game moved on without him, and while he remains the lovable tank we know, he is just that. A relic of an old era, multiple abilities to do little, minimal team synergy, and an emphasis that focuses entirely around just not dying, rather than killing or a good crowd controlling or buffing. Yes, he has Pocket Sand, Desiccation, which can be genuinely useful in the higher range builds or detonating your 4 after you start charging it to at least 25%, but this is really the best he can do that's remotely interesting, beyond being a lone wolf that doesn't die. Inaros received tweaks to his Elemental Sandstorm augment last year prior to the Angels of Azeraman update. The first noticeable update to his kit since his introduction 6.5 years ago. Unfortunately, it did not catch much attention. Even me, seeing the new stats of doubled base status chance and bonus range scaling, tried to play around with it last year but couldn't find a solution. The biggest problem with this ability was its habit of throwing enemies away from the Sandstorm. We found a way around that. We also thought maybe it now scales off melee mods like a Pseudo Exalt. It doesn't. But we also found a way around that. I originally was going to make a Heat Inherit build because I thought a Sandstorm wasn't going to be strong enough. This would have been extremely annoying to use, requiring priming before casting a Sandstorm into every group of enemies. Luckily, this was unnecessary once we field tested the Slash variant. Slash Sandstorm also gets around the problem of Inaros' passive. You cannot activate Last Gasp when he downs, and when his Sarcophagus timer runs out, you die. But getting shot out of Sandstorm does not remove slash procs from enemies, meaning those that die as a result while you are downed will refill your self-revive meter and activate your passive. Free resurrect so long as you down in a group of enemies. So how exactly does Elemental Sandstorm work? It's a fake Pseudo Exalt. What I mean by this is that it considers the elemental weight of your melee stat stick. That's it. It does not care about the weapon stats, crits, status, base damage, faction, or even elemental damage. It only cares about elemental weight. A 50% slash melee build will make your tornado proc 50% slash. It also procs statuses evenly in succession. This means if you have 20% heat, 30% viral, 50% slash, then in a short period, it will always proc 20% heat, 30% viral, 50% slash in succession, with zero randomness before looping the proc rotation again. This makes mixing elements produce extremely consistent and predictable DPS. What the game doesn't tell you is that strength double dips on Sandstorm naturally. It both increases Sandstorm damage, but also Sandstorm status chance. This means at 200 strength, you have double status and double base damage, resulting in 4 times damage scaling. We're also using Roar today, because it is the only way to add a Bane to Sandstorm. Of course, Roar also double dips in Sandstorm bleed procs. 100 strength Roar plus 100 Sandstorm results in 1.3 squared from Roar and 100% status and damage scaling. This equals 1.69 times damage scaling. 200 strength Roar plus Sandstorm results in 1.6 squared from Roar times 200 status and 200% damage scaling. This results in 10.24 times damage scaling. How much damage scaling do we get on today's 403 strength build? 79.25 times scaling. Every single time you double your strength, you get roughly 7 times more damage. Therefore, strength is absolutely mandatory to push Sandstorm's paltry base 500 damage. Today's build uses a 403 strength Inaros, and if you wanted to go even higher, then you have the option of playing in teams to boost your strength further with a Nidus, or in solo a Nidus Spectre to push you to 516 strength for 172.7 times damage scaling. Yes, even a Nidus Spectre more than doubles your damage output on Elemental Sandstorm. An actual teammate Nidus at 400 plus strength could push you to nearly 1000 times damage scaling on Sandstorm, by pushing you to roughly 850 strength with just Parasitic Link. For technical stuff about Sandstorm, remember that Elemental Sandstorm adds 50% range to the ability, meaning you don't need to mod any extra range on Inaros. This expands the pull radius a lot, somewhat close to the wall, pushing captured enemies against it and preventing them from spinning behind you. This both allows you to keep them stuck for more bleed ticks while simultaneously streamlining spawns, since this incentivizes you to fight around crowded corridors and entrances. Because Elemental Sandstorm procs all elementals on your stat stick melee in a specific rotation order, a touch of viral and a main weight / melee build will do wonders for extra / scaling by also proccing viral. I chose a Glaive Prime today since it's naturally / weighted, force proc / to kill annoying Acolytes, which Sandstorm cannot touch, and because Glaive heavy detonations can activate Dispatch Overdrive, boosting your overall movement speed by plus 60% for 15 seconds. This affects movement well in Sandstorm too, letting you suck up enemies much more quickly. That's really all there is to know. You just have Roar active and spin to bleed enemies to death. So how does Inaros look? 2. Casting speed shards help a lot, because casting Sandstorm has a noticeable delay, and an even longer one when uncasting. Strength shards are not necessary. This was when I was planning for Heat Inherit Sandstorm with Pillage, but we aren't using that, so you can skip this. I would strongly recommend at least 2 Energy Max shards for safety, since Sandstorm costs a lot of energy to cast. And we have no spare slots on the build for flow, and Inaros has low base energy as well as the drain costs being high. You're also relying on enemies shooting you to regen energy with Hunter's Adrenaline, so a cushion of energy lets you wait longer to get shot when you're spinning around. This is a really weird Inaros build. I would strongly recommend to use a rank 5 Grace if you have access to it, because our main way of getting energy back is being shot. While today's showcase works very well over the 20 minutes I showed, rank 1 Grace only gives you 2% HP regen per second, whereas rank 5 grants 6% HP per second. This would let you face tank Exma and annoying other units easily by straight up having 3 times better regen. Please take Prime Surefooted in the X list if you can. I couldn't fit it, and we don't have space to slot the Scarab Armor Augment. You can also be shot while in Sandstorm, and this triggers Rage or Hunter Adrenaline for energy regen, letting us get away with dropping to 45 efficiency. Normally 45 efficiency Sandstorm is actually unsustainable because the energy costs are too high, but we have just enough bulk to eat the hits and convert it into energy for Sandstorm. That's why higher Arcane Grace can help so much. Scarab Armor grants you bonus base armor and not final armor, but this is extremely important to get things going since we don't have any armor on the build innately. This is also the armor that allows adaptations to stack up safely and 90% on relevant types, as well as giving a chance for Mecha Pulse to build up. I use Rage due to polarity problems, and I would recommend Hunter Adrenaline instead for 45% health to energy conversion. Mecha Set is also super important on this build because you indiscriminately suck up enemies to kill. You don't move super fast, so enemies will walk into your blender naturally. This allows you to consistently kill off the Mecha Mark target to nuke everything within 30 meters with slash procs every 12 seconds. We need a full Mecha Set for the shortest cooldown and biggest AoE, which is why we have a Mecha as Auron mod slots. Mecha Pulse also gives us even more armor when we kill the marked target, which we can easily reach 1200% plus on this build. Scarab Armor gets you going and keeps you alive, but once stacked with Mecha Pulse, even though it only lasts 20 seconds, you have roughly 3000 to 3500 armor as well as adaptation. Keep in mind, if you down, your 4 deactivates and you will need to restack it. You will also lose your Mecha Pulse stacks if you take too long, since marked enemies only show up once every 12 seconds and the buff only lasts 20 seconds. Multi-Augmented and Matter-Eye Focus School are important due to Sandstorm Quadratic strength scaling. This pushes us up to our desired 403 strength. Sling Strength from Matter-Eye grants a plus 40% and Mold Augmented gives plus 60% after 250 kills, which should be easy since this setup has almost 100 KPM. I would also recommend you to pick up a Vizier Predasite to heal you up from time to time. This is how I would mod them, and this is just a general purpose idea of how I would throw in the mecha mods as well. It's vital to reaching the full mecha set bonus, so do keep in mind you have to bring a Predasite or a Kubrow. Now also, do bring a weapon to deal with Acolytes, as while Sandstorm can shred Exodus units, they only tickle Echoes. Literally anything works. I just had my Latron lying around, except it was on the wrong build, but at least I could strip their armor off. Any generic, well-modded weapon will work better than Sandstorm, however projectile AoEs in particular will work better on Acolytes. So take your pick. No, Banes don't work on them. Pistols is kinda whatever. I don't care. If anything, you could bring in Encumber Arcane for stacking statuses on Acolytes for gun CO, or an Epitaph specifically for cold procs. Otherwise, I don't care what you bring in this slot. Our melee of choice today is Glaive Prime. Why this weapon? It has Force Proc Slash to kill Acolytes. If you don't have a good primary, it has an easy to use heavy attack. You just alt fire while it's in flight to detonate it, and this is perfect for activating Volatile Quick Return, which boosts our movement speed even in Sandstorm by plus 60%. Power Throw makes up for the build not being fully built for damage, so that successive throws get stronger as long as you instantly chain them when killing off Acolytes. Volatile Quick Return gives bigger hitbox generosity with a plus 3 meter AoE, and Glaives have 0 fall off in their explosion. This is the build I used, with extra windup from Amalgam Organ Shatter and Killing Blow. I have Jagged Edge and Buzzkill to boost Glaive Prime slash weight to 87.9%. This means 87.9% of my procs from Elemental Sandstorm will be slash. If you want this to kill trash fodder better, but worse against Acolytes, you can drop Killing Blow and Volatile Quick Return for 2 viral mods. This will drop slash weight to 59.1%, but adds 32.7% of viral weight. Remember, the first viral procs boost damage against health by plus 100%. For every 6 slash procs you inflict, there would also be roughly 3 viral procs on this build due to Sandstorm, inflicting a plus 150% bonus damage and is equivalent to 15 slash procs. Without the viral mods, you would just inflict 9 slash procs doing the damage of 9 slash procs. So yeah, big boost for slash DPS if you add viral, just less damage against Acolytes and smaller AoE, so you have to throw more carefully for DPSing Acolytes and proccing Dispatch Overdrive. Power Throw can still carry your damage there to kill them off. How to use? You just double Void Sling and then cast Roar, then cast Sandstorm and drift into enemies to kill them off. Try to stick to narrower balconies or hallways to force enemies against the left wall and prevent them from being thrown away. On successive Sandstorm casts, you can throw your Glaive Prime and detonate on enemies to proc Dispatch Overdrive, so your Sandstorm moves 60% faster. Molt augmented stacks naturally. You don't have to pay attention closely to the stacks. You will eventually hit 250 stacks to just do more damage, but there are no important strength breakpoints. If you want more damage, you can run a Naughty Spectre to boost Sandstorm scaling from 79.3 to 172.7 times scaling, or more than double your damage. If you have actual teammates, a 400 strength friendly Nidus could boost you to 1000 time elemental, Sandstorm scaling with Parasitic Link alone. Cheers! If this is your first time watching, feel free to leave a like or better yet subscribe. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. 79.5% of you are not subscribed. I'm trying my best to give you new information out always, as soon as possible. Like I've been doing with the Duviri update. Stick around if you want to see interesting memes and builds on a nearly daily basis. You don't want to miss out on any of that, do you? That'll be it for this video. Thank you all for watching, and see you all next time.